This week, we've got the return of the Blacksmith shiny boxes along with a Pearl Blessing spend event. These RNG boxes have historically been some of the best value you can get for your pearls, so paired with this spending event, we can expect some pretty good things. In this video, we'll first briefly go over the Blacksmith boxes and Blessing event, including how they function and their real values. Then, due to the nature of how the Pearl Blessing event works, we'll look at the different Pearl spending breakpoints you may want to reach to maximize your value. Timestamps will always be in the description of this video if you want to skip to any specific part. Starting with the Blacksmith shiny boxes, as we know, these have been one of the best RNG boxes that we've seen so far in BDO. What makes them so good is that they only contain high-value items such as crons, memory fragments, and stacks, along with having a decent chance of getting the higher value drops. There also is an interesting pity mechanic with the Blacksmith Ember Seals that lets you trade those in for higher tier boxes. In terms of the value for these boxes, if you trade in your Ember Seals 30 for the Ultimate Premium Enhancement box, you can expect to get around 1750 Pearl value per Blacksmith shiny box, or 1306 Pearl value if you only care about crons. This is a very good average value for RNG boxes. Of course, since these are RNG boxes, you can always get more or less than the expected average. This will be the value we use for the rest of this video, but I will mention that if you do trade your Ember Seals in 5 for another Blacksmith shiny box, you will be expected to get around 125 more Pearl value on average, with 40 more Pearl value coming from crons. Even though this does give more value, this trade is slightly less popular, so we do our calculations based on trading 30 for one ultimate box. PA also added a new 60 seal trade-in for the Transcendent Ultimate boxes, which does give you more cron value compared to the Ultimates, but still worse than the 5 seal for one Blacksmith shiny box. Looking at this week's packs, they are going to be sold until August 28th, and range from 1 box to a pack with 70 boxes. The 20, 50, and 70 packs can only be bought 50 times a week, resetting on Monday, so keep that in mind if you're buying a lot of those. The 3-pack for 35% off can only be bought once, and the regular 1 boxes have no limit. Since some of the more expensive packs come with Ember Seals and are discounted up to 15% off, they give slightly more value than the regular boxes, so may be more tempting than buying the boxes by themselves. We will of course go through these packs in conjunction with the Pearl Blessing event later in this video. So now that we know the average value of the Blacksmith shiny boxes, what about the Pearl Blessing event? This event is pretty cool as it gives you bonus items based on the amount of pearls you spend during this event period, ending on September 4th. It goes up to 68,500 pearls and can be reset 4 times, letting you get up to 5 full rotations. Any remaining pearls you spend before a reset will roll over to the next reset. However, when you are at your 5th rotation, obviously any bonus pearls you spend will not give you bonus items. Ignoring the discount coupons for now, if we price every single bonus item you get from this event, we can see that you get a bonus of around 37,216 pearls in 1 rotation, with 23,656 of that pearl value coming from crons. If you do all 5 rotations, that bonus value can go up to 186,000 pearls, but you do need to spend 342,000 pearls, which is quite a lot. Now, these bonus items are cool and a nice little bonus. However, what makes this event really good is the different amount of coupons that you get. Spending 68,500 pearls and doing 1 full rotation, you will get 1 10, 15, 20, 30, and 40% off coupon. These will of course help you save pearls if you want to buy items to complete this event or multiple rotations of this event. Now, this is of course a very high spender event, but it can still be optimized for people who won't even finish a single rotation or only want to do 1 to 2 resets instead of the full 4. We will now move on to how you can optimize reaching certain breakpoints from buying Blacksmith boxes along with this Pearl Blessing event. Now, a majority of players, even those who spend money on pearls, will likely only buy the pearl packs with coupons and use those 30% coupons to buy 1 or 2 70x Blacksmith packs. If this is the only thing that you do, you will get some of the best value per pearls possible. You're buying some of the best RNG boxes that are already at a 15% discount for an additional 30% off with the coupon. That pack will give around 126,500 pearls, and including the 12,200 pearl blessing value you get from the pearl blessing event, will be a total of a 138,711 pearl value. If you only care about crons, that pearl value will be closer to 98,858 pearls. Considering you are only spending 19,576 pearls, give or take 1 pearl due to rounding, you're getting about an 85.89% discount equivalence and an 80.2% discount equivalence if you only care about crons. This is extremely high for RNG boxes, especially for a box that contains good items. This is even better than the previous Blacksmith step-up event that we got before. The reason for this is that this 70 times pack costs so much pearls that the 30% off coupon really saves you a lot. For most players, using the two 30% coupons and getting 1 to 2 70x packs will be some of the best value you can get for your pearls. There really is no need to push to the end of the Pearl Blessing event if you aren't that high of a pearl spender. Now, what if you do have the excess pearls and want to purchase more boxes, especially during this Pearl Blessing event? We'll look at the value of pushing to 1 complete reset of the Pearl Blessing event. Pushing past 270 boxes does bring up a slight issue that will be a reoccurrence with this Pearl Blessing event, and that issue is simply that you don't have enough 30% coupons to sustain through this entire event, and will have to drop down to 20% coupons or maybe even less. Buying 270 boxes will only get you to 39,000 pearls, and the 30% coupon is a reward only at 47,000 pearls spent. To get to 47,000 pearls, you will either need to drop down to using a 20% coupon or buy other items on the Pearl store. Depending on what you may need, you can buy previous week's packs that still are running, future week's packs that will run during this event, or different buffs such as value packs or even maids. However, since we can't assume what a player may need, we will only show the results for buying Blacksmith boxes. Do keep in mind though that if you can fill these weird gaps with items that you need on the Pearl store, that will always be the best case scenario. There are multiple gaps like this though, so you will need to make sure to recalculate the sale by yourself. Now, assuming you don't need other items and use a 20% coupon to get another 70 pack, we will lose a little bit of value but unlock the 30% coupon and subsequently the 40% coupon. The most value obviously comes from the 30 and 40% coupon, so do try to take advantage of those if you're going to be pushing past the first couple of boxes. The unfortunate part here is that the special Pearl box that comes with the bonus items only gets you to about the third purchase with the 20% off coupon, but even if you do need to waste the 30% coupon that you get, this is still going to be decent value compared to other sales that we've seen. That being said though, after using the 30% coupon on the 4th pack of Blacksmith boxes, we will finish 1 cycle of the Pearl Blessing and get the 40% off coupon. After using the 40% off coupon on our 5th pack of Blacksmith boxes, we will get the highest possible pearl value so far for crons. This is a reoccurring theme with the rest of the resets that you will always want to stop your run after using the 40% coupon if you are going to stop, as that will give you the most value for your pearls. Completing one cycle of this event and using the 40% coupon, we will get a total value of 684,000 pearls, 505,037 pearl cron value, which is equivalent to about 147,500 raw crons. This is similar to buying all items at a discount equivalence of 85.71% and 80.62% for crons only. This is including resetting the event once and getting the blessed rewards from the excess pearls spent. Do keep in mind though that even though the cron value is a little bit lower, this doesn't include memory fragments that can be sold and used to buy crons. As we can see, compared to simply buying 1 or 2 packs, doing one entire cycle does give you slightly more cron discount, but a little bit less total discount. This is again mainly due to having to use the 20% coupon to unlock the next 30% and 40% coupon. Still, the cron value is one of the best that we've seen so far in BDO. Granted, you will have to spend around 100,000 pearls to get the 570 packs, so it's definitely not a cheap thing to do. But with all that done, we've bought 570 pearl boxes and can reset the Pearl Blessing event. Moving on to multiple resets, the general idea is basically the same up until the last reset. Stopping after using the 40% coupon will be the best value breakpoint that you can get, and whatever cycle you are on, you should always aim to stop here. Up to the 4th reset and using the 40% coupon to get the 5th reset, it is basically all the same. One of the best cycles to stop is after the 2nd reset, as on the 3rd round, you will need to buy 2 packs with 20% off coupons. The final reset is going to be the most annoying and awkward cycle because of many reasons. First of all, at this point, you would have already bought 15 of the 70 Blacksmith boxes, so you will need to wait for this count to reset on Monday at server reset time. Secondly, any excess pearls that you spend, which you will need to since you get the 40% coupon after completing the 8th final step of the Pearl Blessing event, will not grant you bonus items since you will have already finished the entire pearl spending event. Lastly, if you didn't buy any other items during this sale and only got the 70 Blacksmith boxes, the numbers become very awkward, forcing you to use even less percent coupons, including the 15% and 10% coupons. Most people probably won't get to this point, but if they are, I would recommend most people stop here. However, if you are curious what it will be like pushing through the last cycle, I'll go over those numbers now. At this last reset, we don't get to the 20% pearl coupon even after the remaining pearls from the previous reset, along with spending the 40% coupon. We only get to about 22,432 pearls spent and need 23,000. Now, since there isn't a lot of difference here, we can get the 3 Blacksmith boxes at 35% off using a 15% coupon. For most people, even those who have stopped earlier, I would recommend getting this pack as it is pretty good value no matter what kind of player you are. That being said, after purchasing this pack, you will unlock the 20% coupon. The big problem here is that after buying a pack for 20% off, you won't be able to reach the 30% coupon. As mentioned earlier, the best case scenario would be to fill with other packs and items. However, if you can't do that, the only other real option would be to buy the 1 Blacksmith boxes. We use the 15% and 10% coupons to do this. The reason for this is pretty simple. It does kind of feel like a bit of a waste since they are so cheap, the 1 times Blacksmith boxes, and using coupons barely saves any pearls. However, the only way you would find yourself in this situation is if you don't want to buy any other item on the Pearl store to fill this gap. Since coupons expire, if you don't want any other Pearl item, then you may as well just use them here, no matter the perceived waste. Again, it will always be better to buy other items that you want to fill these pearls spent, and you can even wait for future weeks to see if there are any packs worth getting, since this event lasts for quite a while. However, if there aren't any other packs, then spending them on 1x boxes is a valid option. We did calculate the possibilities of buying 20 and 50 packs with 15% coupons, and they are similar but worse value than buying the 1 packs. You will need to do this to get the 30% coupon, and after that again to get the 40% coupon. Interestingly enough, if you go down this path, you will use all the coupons that you get from the entire Pearl Blessing event, along with bonuses from buying pearls. In total, this would cost you around 359,000 pearls and give you a 2.48 million pearl value. The value would be 1.84 million if you only care about crons, which is around 538,000 raw crons. This is similar to an 85.52% discount equivalent and 80.48 for crons only. Even though you have to do some pretty weird stuff to get to this point, this is still an extremely high discount equivalence compared to previous sales on BDO, and going to be giving you some of the best pearl value for your crons. Overall for this event, one of the best breakpoints is still going to be after the second round, as you can avoid using 20% coupons for 2 of the 70x boxes. However, if we look at all the different breakpoints, they don't really differ by that much. They will all range around 85 to 86% off. Now, since the percent is extremely high and there are a lot of pearls spent, even 0.1% can equate to a lot of pearls, but the difference isn't mind-blowing. Now, the reason for this low difference is that for the early packs, you already get a 30% coupon bonus from buying pearls, which gives you an incredibly good value for your pearls. What the Pearl Blessing event really does is allow you to sustain this discount through giving more high-value coupons throughout the event. This allows you to sustain the discount if you are going to be buying more than 2 to 3 70x Blacksmith boxes. There is really not a big loss of value if you simply just buy 1 to 2 packs and end your loop there, or get to the end of the first reset. The bonus pearls from the Pearl Blessing event isn't really that great, it's mostly about getting the discount coupons. As long as you are aware around how much pearls you will spend during this event and try to hit the recommended breakpoints, you really can't go wrong. But that's basically it for this video. Overall, this is an incredibly nice sale and event, allowing you to combine 30 to 40% off coupons with a big 70x Blacksmith Shiny Box pack. The value you can get is definitely one of the best that we've seen so far, and you can get a ton of value for your pearls. As I said 2 weeks ago, I do think that they will continue to give us pretty decent sales, especially with how the game is progressing. For most players who aren't in a rush to get crons or silver, this is most certainly not a must-buy event, as they may continue this trend of good sales moving forward. That being said, this is still the best sale that we've seen so far, so if you have the extra pearls and want to spend those on crons, this sale is very good. Either way though, I do hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all next time.